Cheryl, and I'm here to do our second episode of our YouTube videos that deal with money issues. We wanted to do a financial education series, and just to let you know, my husband Wayne is behind the camera, and he does all the editing and kind of makes everything ready to go for uploading onto the YouTube system. The first episode, in case you had missed it, we talked a little bit about what's the number one thing you need to do in order to be financially successful. And that basically is changing behavior, changing the way you spend your money, changing the way you deal with money, and just educating yourself, learning as much as you can. And this is one of the ways that you can do that by visiting these videos. To let you know, I have been working as a financial counselor for the past 16 years. I did one-on-one counseling behind closed doors with individualized clients, and then I also did classroom instruction as well. And what my hope is to pass on some of the information that I learned even from my clients onto you, so you can just be better informed as far as money matters are concerned. So this particular episode deals with thinking differently about money. And I guess the things that I want to kind of instill upon you is when we're thinking about how we're spending our money, there's two ways that we do it. We purchase things because we need them, and we purchase because we want them. So we have to determine what our needs are, and then what our wants are, and kind of divide it up that way. So when we talk about needs, what comes to mind? That's what you have to ask yourself. Well, the first things that come to mind when I think of a need is paying a mortgage payment or a car payment, maybe paying for rent if we don't own a home. You have to buy gas and food and electricity and trash pickup, things like that. Those are needs. But when we go into wants, that's a little different. And the reason it's different is because those things we can cut out of our spending. Those are the things that we can say, hey, you know what? I don't have to buy that, right? And so what I like to think about is it doesn't have, when we start looking at cutting back on our finances, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Instead of cutting out, how about if we think about cutting back, reducing in certain categories when it comes to our wants? Just cutting back. I'm not going to say it's not going to hurt a little bit, because it probably will, but it's a lot easier than completely cutting something out. And I don't even know if that expectation would be too high for a lot of us. We live to enjoy our money, so we need to have some opportunities to do that. And that's where the wants come in. So when we look at our wants, what are we spending our money on? Well, that's going to be very individualized. Everyone is different in what they do. Some people, they find it very important to take out their friends and, show off their money by maybe buying drinks for everybody. They feel good about doing that. They're givers. And then there's other people that, maybe they want to eat lunch out every day of the week while they're at work, because it's just easier than making a lunch. Or buying the foo-foo coffee. The foo-foo coffee, what I'm talking about, like Starbucks, you spend $5, $6 for a cup of coffee. Well, I'm not saying to cut those things out, but how about if you eat 5 days a week out for lunch and you're spending that money? How about if you cut it back 2 or 3 times a week? You don't eat. You eat, but you just bring your own lunch. And whatever you didn't spend that money, if you didn't spend that money, don't spend it, but save it. And then we can come back, because the series that I'm doing, it's kind of a building process. Little building blocks, baby steps. And so what we can do is talk about the best way to look at that money and make the most out of it, the money that you saved. And that's going to be something that we would talk about later on. So if we can cut back on our wants, that's money we could maybe stash away. But I also want you to think about tax time. A lot of you are going to be getting those refunds back. And a lot of people, they already know what they're going to spend their money on, and 9 out of 10 people are going to spend it all. How about if you put a little bit of that money aside? Not all of it, because it's not all or nothing, but just a little bit, and put it in a jar and just saved it for a while. Try doing that. These are the examples that I'm trying to give you in ways in which you can think differently about money. You know, my clients would come in and they would talk to me, and it was a common theme with them. When they were showing a deficit, which basically means they're spending more money than they earn, I'd say, well, what are you spending your money on? And they talk about it, and they talk about, well, I only spent $5 here, and I only spent $3 there, and I only spent $6 here. But when you add up all the onlys throughout the month, those onlys can add up to a tremendous amount of money that they could have put away. So those are the things that I really want you to think about when it comes to thinking about money differently. We don't have to do what everybody else does. Everybody else has a tendency to buy now and pay later. You don't have to be one of those people, because the people that do that have a tendency to have trouble sleeping at night because they owe so much money. But they don't tell you that. You don't see that. It's kind of like a facade. You're seeing something that isn't true. So I want you to see that you can do it differently if you think differently. And that's really where I want you to go with that. We are going to be putting a lot of different videos together about money, but in a couple of weeks we are going to Europe, my husband and I, and we're going to break away from the channel and put in some content about our trip to Europe and just kind of share with you some of the things that we did and maybe even ways that we save money. But the thing that I really want to impress upon you all is that we're going on a cruise. It's a river cruise, 15-day. We are going to Europe. We're going to visit 4 countries. And we pay cash. What a great feeling that is. What I want you all to understand is that if you can make small baby steps and make small change, you can make these big purchases like we are going to do and pay cash. What a great feeling that is. What a great feeling of freedom. That you know you can enjoy this trip, come home and know, or whether it be a trip or anything else that you buy, you finish the purchase and you can look at yourself and say, oh, I don't have to worry about that payment because I don't owe anybody any money. Those are the kind of things that I want to press upon you. Now I'm going to leave you with this. For homework, if you're willing, whatever you save in the line of cutting back on your wants, if you have money that you've accumulated or that you got from your tax return and you save that money, I want you to put it aside and keep it there. Because the next video that we're going to talk about is the things that we can start thinking about doing with that money that are going to improve the way we spend our money and make us financially successful. I will see you in a week and we will get to that next topic, and I will see you. Have a great day and so long. Bye.